Hi Virgo, happy early birthday and welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your August 2024 tarot reading. Thanks to those of you who like, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, the Celtic cross spread as always, and also pulled the 4 agreements and wisdom oracle card for you guys. But we're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology as we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, we have 12. And 12th house energy for you guys is Leo, so of course it makes sense to see that come up because we'll be in Leo season for the first few weeks of August, and it is your 12th house. We're also going to have a Mercury retrograde that's going to start in your sign early in August, but it will backtrack into Leo. Of course, there'll be a new moon there as well, so definitely quite a bit of energy going on in your 12th house. Alright, we also have the Sun, so we just talked about how for the first few weeks we'll be in Leo season, so Sun will be in your 12th house, and then of course as we move toward the end of August, the Sun will move into your sign, so see the Sun move for your 12th house of spirituality, blind spots, mental health, to your first house of personality and self-awareness. And speaking of Virgo, we also see your sign come up with the dice, so yeah. Definitely be a lot of focus on yourselves this month and also the inner workings of your mind as well. So we'll keep that in mind as we go through the main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Moon. And challenging that, we have the Death card. So this is the major arcana card for Scorpio, which is your 3rd house communication. And then to see the Moon here could just be saying, well, for one, I usually point out that when we do see the moon, especially in a prominent position in the spread, to pay extra attention to the lunar cycles that'll take place. So at the time of recording this, we haven't had that full moon in Capricorn just yet. It's coming up now. And then, well, that's the second full moon in Capricorn too. And then we're going to have a full moon in Aquarius in August, and then of course there'll be a new moon in Leo as well, which is your 12th house, like we said. So pay attention to those times in particular where something might come to the forefront for you that's a little bit more important than normal. But to see the Death card in the challenge position could just be saying that if you guys have been feeling like you've lacked some clarity around something, the key to actually getting that clarity and putting that cycle to an end might be to have some conversations, given that this is your 3rd house communication. Alright, in the foundation position we have Temperance. So to me this says that you're probably on pretty firm footing, so maybe this is more of a perception versus a reality thing, right? Where you might feel like you're not seeing things too clearly, but maybe that's because you're a little bit too caught up in your head, right? Like we said, all the stuff going on in your 12th house, that wouldn't surprise me, but maybe just bouncing your ideas off of others might help you see that, okay, yeah, I'm not really imagining things here, I am seeing things the way I initially thought, and that could give you a little bit more confidence moving forward. But yeah, could just be saying that your home environment might be a place of peace for you guys this month too. Alright, in the past position we have the Knight of Wands. So yeah, this could just be saying that in the past maybe you rarely felt like you were comfortable in one place, right? So maybe you often would travel, maybe you were constantly searching for a comfortable home environment, right? But maybe you felt like you were finding difficulty in doing so because maybe you just had this endless curiosity to explore more and more places. But yeah, could just be saying at the very least you might have been a lot more action-oriented in the past. Right, in the present position we have the 4 of Wands. So yeah, this is Aries energy here, and to me this says that it looks like you do have a lot of stability in your environment, a lot of reason to celebrate as well. So yeah, like I said, it could just be one of those things where maybe you're seeing things from a bit more of a dark perspective at this time. And again, like I said, that could definitely happen with 12th house energies, especially when your ruler, no less, is part of that 12th house energy in a retrograde cycle. So it could just be a little bit of a heavier energy that you're feeling internally when the external might be better than you expect. And like I said, it looks like that might be why it's saying that the key there is to actually just keep lines of communication open with others, because that might actually help you see things from a brighter perspective. Alright, in the near future position, we have the 4 of Pentacles. So yeah, so this is Capricorn energy here. And this does make me think of the fact that we will have Pluto technically really at 0 degrees of Aquarius as we move through August, but more or less right when we get into September, it'll backtrack into the last 10 degrees of Capricorn. So themes you might have been feeling like you were dealing with back then might be coming back to the surface, and that could be around your creativity, what makes you feel comfortable as well, right? Where you feel like your roots are growing. So some of those themes could come back to the surface for you guys again, and that might be part of what it is too, right? Where you're like, okay, I thought I left all that behind. Why does it feel like this energy is coming back up to the surface again, right? It could just be as simple as that. And interesting to me that for whatever reason this card refuses to focus too. There we go. So yeah, it'll just be one of those things where you might be holding on tight to things again because, like I said, maybe you feel like the circumstances that you're dealing with might seem a little bit more bleak than they are in the reality at this time. All right, in the position of your influence in a situation, we have the Page of Pentacles. So yeah, so I always point out with this deck, especially how it looks like that Pentacle is just out of your reach, right? So maybe that's ultimately what you feel like. So maybe this is saying that happiness is there, it's available to you, but for whatever reason, you might constantly move the goalposts for yourself, right? To where you feel like, okay, I got this thing, what's next, right? And then you keep moving the goalpost, and then that could be telling you to look at, well, if you always feel that way, then you're never actually going to enjoy the success of what you've worked through, right? So, let's say if this was some goal that you achieved, right? Then you sit in that for a brief time, and you're like, okay, on to the next thing, right? What's my next goal? I could just be saying, well, that's fine, but if you're never going to actually have the time to enjoy achieving those goals, then what's the ultimate purpose there, right? In the environment position, we have the Empress. So yeah, to me, this is saying, especially like we said, 12th house coming up in your dice and the astrological energies we point out, that'll be coursing through that area as well. It'll all just be saying that this would be, if no other time, and now this would be a great time to actually just sit back, relax, right, and actually enjoy the fruits of your labor for a little bit. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have the Nine of Swords. So yeah, I would assume this would not be a hope for someone, so this is probably more of a fear, right, where maybe you're aware that you're in this cycle, right, but you don't know how to get out of it. Where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm not a fan of being in this energy of feeling like I'm constantly overthinking, like, okay, I'm here at this goal, I'm enjoying it for a brief second, and now what's the next thing, right? So maybe you're aware that you're in that cycle, right? Especially like we said with the Moon card, but maybe the difficulty, and that could be also why the Death card is showing in the challenge position, is like, okay, how do I break that cycle, right? And like I said, I feel like if that's how you're feeling, and you are asking yourself, how do I break that cycle? Again, like I said, it looks like the key might be to speak to those around you, right? Or like I said, even if you don't directly address the situation with them, I feel like just in your conversation with them, you might see your situation through their lens, and then that'll help you see things a little bit better, where you're like, okay, yeah, maybe I am better off than I'm thinking I am. And then that could actually help settle you a little bit. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the Two of Pentacles. So Capricorn energy here. And yeah, I feel like this is saying ultimately, like we were saying, that as long as you have that mentality, right? I mean, this is coming across like the infinity symbol there. It'd just be saying that as long as you have that mentality, you could stay in that cycle forever, right? So I feel like this is saying, we see the stormy waters in the background there, right? Could just be saying that emotionally it could be thrown into a little bit of upheaval as well. So I feel like this is just saying that, especially with the energies going through your 12th house, it just looks like a time where it's really going to amplify these things. So you're almost forced to look at it, right? And then I feel like this is saying that ultimately you do have an opportunity to put some of those thoughts to bed finally. Even if it doesn't happen this month, I feel like it's going to really get you on the right track to doing so. All right, and bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Wands. So yeah, so like I said, for some of you where maybe there's this this habit that you've had that's been hard to break, right? Where like you can't feel settled in one place for too long, so you feel like you're constantly on the move. And then the irony is you're ultimately looking for that place where you could feel settled, but at the same time, this mentality seems to be clashing with that, right? Because you're always going to feel like, okay, there's another place to see, another thing to do. So just be saying that maybe that's what you're grappling with this month. And interestingly enough, beneath that, we see the Hangman. So yeah, like I said, I feel like this is more than likely a cycle you guys have been in for a while, but it's just that now with those things moving to your 12th house, it's really come to the forefront to help you actually put it behind you. All right, from the Four Agreements deck, we have Don't Make Assumptions. It says say goodbye to sadness and drama. Right? It says all the sadness and drama you have lived in your life was rooted in making assumptions and taking things personally. The whole world of control between humans is based on that. Take a moment and consider this. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there, because at the very least it does look like it's saying that you could be caught in some cycle that seems to be keeping you in this darker place. So yeah, so just to give it a generic example, given that we see some pentacle energy here, right? Maybe if we want to look at it through that lens, where it says that, for example, in Western society, right, there's a lot of commercialism where things are always presented like, oh, the flashy car and the huge house and this, that, and the other, right? Is like they're these keys to happiness. And then, but you'll see a lot of people achieve those things and then they're still not necessarily happy, right? Because there's always going to be a nicer car, there's always going to be a bigger house, you know? So it can be one of those cycles you guys might have found yourselves in, and maybe you're seeing it from a different light this month. All right, from the Wisdom of the Oracle, we have why. There's the artwork, and the number is 31. So we'll see what this has to say. All right, essential meanings says motives, driving intention, the power of knowing the why. The Oracle's message: there is great power in understanding your motives right now. The Oracle asks that you be very clear about why you're asking this question, looking for this answer, behaving in this way, and most important, making this choice. Knowing your why is the key to fulfillment. When you are clear about it, your intention will then be a magnet for miracles. Motives define the nature of your experience. When you think about something, feel it, and then act on it. This invisible why is the life force energy within the seed, which brings it to life and holds potential for growth. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there, right? Or like we said, for some of you, maybe that's the problem, where you're like, okay, I have this constant need to find home, right? But then if you're like, okay, but then if you get there and then you're like, oh no, but there's this other place to see and another place to see. It could just be saying that maybe you need to look at those motives to see, like, okay, well, are you ever going to feel that sense of home if you're constantly also looking at it through that lens too? There's always another place to see. So it could just be something like that. All right, the relationship message says we don't always know why we engage in our relationships in the way we do, mostly because our feelings aren't always logical. Now is the time to recognize whether you are being triggered by someone else or if your behavior is motivated by unresolved issues in the past. When you ask yourself, why am I feeling like this and why did I say that? And spend some time in introspection, the answers may be surprising. Listen to the messages from your intuition, from the knowing deep within you. What does it tell you about yourself and others? In the end, life is all about being loved. Miracles and a deep understanding of your needs and how to get them met are the buried treasure of the why. Uncover them by posing the most powerful question you can ask yourself and your partner today. Why? So yeah, definitely an interesting message there. I mean, there are some heavier energies in your 7th house as far as we have Neptune retrograde and obviously Saturn in there as well. So maybe that's part of what's bringing that part to the forefront. But I will say overall, this didn't necessarily seem like a relationship theme in the main spread, but hopefully that resonated for those of you who are looking for guidance on that. And the prosperity message says, knowing the motives behind your career and creative ventures is the ticket to your greatest success. It's time to ask yourself some probing questions. Are you driven by a desire to serve? Does your prosperity impact the greater good? When you envision your most prosperous life, are you guided by a sense of purpose or by a need to make money, acquire things, save for the future, or all of these? No motive is bad or good, but having agendas hidden from yourself will lead to disappointment and possible failure. Be clear about why you want the things you do. If the motives are true, accept them. If they are not, change them so you can step into your extraordinary life. See, I will say that message definitely seems to resonate with the theme we were talking about there. So hopefully that resonated with you guys. Once again, happy early birthday. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.